Hi, I'm Garmbreak1, and this is Midgardia's Cool Crowdfunding Show. Today I'm here with Ralph. How's it going?
Hey, Gunrake, it's going really well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well myself. Today you're here to tell us about Rise to Heist, so why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, to talk about Rise to Heist, first I'm going to say we're going to start the fundraising for artwork for Rise to Heist on June 1st. I want to get this out before I forget it later in the video because talking about stuff, you forget stuff, right? Rise to Heist is one of those things that actually is unusual for me. Most of my games are spontaneous inspirations, and I get into the zone and just push something out, right? With Rise to Heist, it's a little bit different because this one is kind of in development for over 2 years, which is funny because it's a one-page toolkit. Um, but to elaborate on that a little bit, I'm a teacher in an international school in China, and I use role playing games in my classroom. I have a whole semester where the students read games, play games, and then start creating their own games. That's kind of how I started with the Rise Creator Kit to guide students into something simple that they can use for their own games. And I use Rise Second Edition for my classroom to make sure that the students have an easy toolkit. In the last 2 years, I've been touring a little bit through conferences and workshops in bigger cities in China and made workshops for teachers how to use role playing games. And I used different things. I used a little bit Lasers and Feelings, an excellent game. Anybody should check it out. Used a little bit Microscope as a tool for creating a timeline because the crowd in the workshops is always a little bit different. But I narrowed it down over the time to something that's closer to Rise, and I think last time I played a little bit Rise of the Apes with a workshop. Um, and through that, I realized not everybody is interested in the usual trope. You go somewhere, you kill monsters, and you get your loot, right? Which is fun, which is great fun, but it's not necessarily an easy tool for a classroom. And not all the teachers really liked it. So I implemented more opportunities for the teachers to have their own choices. And what came out of this is that the interest is there to do something secretively. That's always fun. And not necessarily stealing stuff. So heist doesn't have to be stealing stuff. The first act in Rise of the Apes is a heist backwards. You break out of somewhere, right? So I thought, hey, why not this? Why not go with the setting or the idea of a heist and just try to come up with something simple to use that I can pull out in the evening and say, hey, want to play something for 1 or 2 hours and slap on the table and everybody can just go within 5 minutes. And that's Rise to Heist. That's where the idea came from. That's how I started working on it.
Right on, right on. So it's not just, break into a bank and steal the money. It's, recover artifacts, maybe place an artifact where back where it should be, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So there's a little guidance in there to set up the adventure. It's pretty bare bone. It's very similar to Lasers and Feelings when it comes to setting up an adventure. It gives you some ideas, but ultimately it says, hey, you need to talk at your table what you want to do and come up with your own adventure and just go and have fun. Um, for Rise to Heist, I'm doing something a little bit unusual. So Rise to Heist is small, one page, but there will be a stretch goal attached to it, and that's spelunking through time. and that's a little bit Goonies meets Time Bandits. I hope the older audience knows what I'm talking about.
I know one of the two,
Which one?
Goonies.
Excellent movie. Time Bandits is, oh, I always mix them up. One of the Monty Pythons. I want to say Terry Gilliam wrote it. Someone in the 80s, early 80s. And it's it's a group of minions of God who stole a time map and just start looting everywhere. But in Spelunking Through Time, the idea is a little bit different. The idea is somebody came into our dimension, a time traveler, and stole something. And when they wanted to go back, they messed up the timeline and they ended up at a sleepover of a few kids. And tells them, I don't know what to tell you. I'm guessing you gotta help me figure this out because I want to go back home and you don't want to have your timeline messed up. That's the basic setting. So the idea in Spelunking Through Time is a little bit more guidance. It's the same setting as Rise to Heist, the same basic idea, just you have to go back in time to fix some ripple effects from the thing that time traveler stole. And then at the end, the final action would be putting the thing back and sending them back home. And that is exactly the idea. We're not stealing something, we're fixing something.
Right, it's a little bit like Quantum Leap as well. Then, hey, like without the
Yes,
yeah, right on, right on. And yes, it is Terry Gilliam who did Time Bandits.
Terry Gilliam, yes.
Sometimes I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I forget you're German until I hear you say a word like spelunking.
I said it the other day to an American person. I had a conversation with two of my colleagues, and one of them was like, yeah, of course I know what it is. And the other person was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's
Y-
see.
yeah, if I wasn't already primed for it by our like pre-interview talk, it would have taken me a sec, but I got there.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it just has a nice ring to it, spelunking.
yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. It's like Kriegspiel. You gotta have the sh there, you know.
Yes, yes.
Um, yeah. So again, this sounds like a fun time. I know you've had good success with the Rise games so far. Is there any? You mentioned art, right? Want to talk a little bit
Yes,
about
yes.
that?
So for Rise to Heist, I already shared on social media the movie poster that I created because I got in contact with an artist I worked before in Cleanup Crew, Marcin, uh, Polish artist. I want to say lives in London currently, but I'm not entirely sure. Um, he made he's working on artwork for RPGs for quite some time, and I'm quite happy to work with him. Excellent, excellent work relation. It's always super fast. If something comes in the way, he's quick to reply with an email and say, "Hey, I need some extra time." For Rise to Heist, I just said, "Hey, I want to have something in the style of the movie poster of Usual Suspects." And my instructions were very, very limited. I said I wanted to have fantasy races in there, and I want the center person, the tallest person in the picture, to be a woman. Those were my instructions. And he pulled up a really, really awesome picture. And I knew I wanted to put it on the one page of Rise to Heist, right? That meant I needed to crop some things and take out some of the. And I just didn't feel right because the whole picture is great, and I thought about how could I actually showcase the whole thing, and I thought, hey, why not turn it into a movie poster? And that's how the movie poster idea came to be. and it looks pretty cool. And for Spelunking Through Time, I decided to also go with Marcin. I looked around a little bit for other artists. Um, for me, it's difficult to find artists because I'm terrible verbalizing what I actually want. Not necessarily in the picture, but the style of the picture. Because when I see it, I say that, but I don't have the words for it. So I looked around, I asked a few times on Twitter, got bombarded with bots multiple times, um, or people who create create the wrong thing, create logos and stuff. Were like, "Hey, you're doing cool stuff, but I'm sorry, I'm not looking for that." So it was difficult, and Marcin apparently had some misfortune happening to him and needed some extra money. So he started posting some older stuff from his sketchbook. And there were some things in there that were not necessarily as gritty as his usual style. And I said, hey, I already know this artist. Why not go with him for Spelunking Through Time as well? Because I feel the artwork, and this is a current discussion again on social media about artwork and role playing games and text. For me, the artwork should align with the text and not just with the words, but also with the tone and the feeling of the text. And in Spelunking Through Time, there is this discrepancy between the time traveler is more of the adult gritty type, whereas the kids are kids, right? So the kids shouldn't be the over gritty tough guy people, right? And I think I found an interesting balance to explain it to Marcin. He's currently in the process to work on some sketches, so we are right in there. But as I said, Spelunking Through Time is a stretch goal further down the line. I'm not taking the whole stretch goal idea too serious. The stretch goal is basically for me to see, hey, I'm in the black numbers with this one. I'm gonna buy the art anyway. I'm gonna publish it anyway. Um, Fundraising for me is trying to get the word out and people helping me out not be in the red numbers. That's the main reason. Otherwise, I would just, like I said, the fundraising is mostly for art.
Yeah. Good art is expensive.
And it should be. It should
Yeah.
be. I'm a big proponent of saying artists should get what they want. My philosophy is if I have a cool artist and I'm in contact with them and I ask them, hey, this is my vision, how much would they cost? And it's out of my budget, then I will say, I'm really, really sorry, but you're out of my budget and it's my loss. It's not their loss. I'm still going to cheer them on social media, but I'm not trying to bargain with anyone. And I'm very open about that when I say, hey, I'm sorry, that's too much for me. I'm not trying to bargain
Yeah.
because I don't want the artist to feel, oh yeah, he's trying to pull something on me. It's just not the right thing. And with Marcin, that was a very very open conversation from the start. And I never even put down a number. I always just asked, how much would that cost? He gave me the number. I said, excellent. I think that's how it should be. I can understand for bigger projects or for people who are not necessarily able to front some money for their hobby, something like that. It's a little bit more difficult, but I'm in the position where I can actually front the money and say, let's see what I get back.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah,
So you said fundraising is going to start at or on June 1st. Is that correct?
June 1st, exactly. It's first, it's my birthday, So why not starting on my birthday?
Okay.
Second, it's in the Eastern world, in the socialist world, or the former socialist world. It's also Children's Day. So
Uh,
the Socialist International Children's Day is the 1st of June, and it's celebrated here in China. So I have more reason to start something fun on this day as well.
right on, right on. Happy early birthday, also.
Thank you. When it comes to the fundraising, I also thought I want to do it a little bit different. I'm taking some slices out of the fundraising for Rise of the Apes. Rise of the Apes fundraising was basically me saying, "Hey, give me some money so I can take out my proofreader and editor for a burger and a beer." This time, it's sure I have the artwork to pay for, but I'm gonna throw in some small stretch goals that are just going for a coffee with my partner, taking my kids out for ice cream, something small because working on a hobby like that is time consuming. And if you have a family, I feel um, they need a reward as well. So it's gonna be some of my stretch goals, some small things.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other parts of Rise to Heist that you'd like to talk about that we haven't got to?
Sparks. So in the Rise games, I usually have those three attributes: physical, mental, and social. And I'm moved away from having fixed skills attached to them. Uh, Rise of the Apes had three skills, particular to the setting in each of those three attributes. Through those workshops that I did, I moved away and said, "Hey, you just put in some scores into your attributes, and based on how good you are, you might have a special skill in it." So, for example, if I have 5 points to put on the three different attributes, and I put 2 points in physical, 2 points in mental, and 1 point in social, I would get two skills in physical, two in mental, and one in social. And what those skills are is up to the players, because they come up with good ideas, and I don't necessarily need something generic. That's why I have the attributes, right? Um, so for the workshops where I use this, my go-to character is very physical, very social, not mental. Um, and their skills is juggling in physical, parkour, and I want to say rock climbing. So three skills that could lean into some other things. I can always try to say, "Hey, I should be open this. I should be able to open this door with some thief tools because I'm good at juggling." So there's this element of negotiation, trying to use the skills. I think that fits really well to a heist game. That you try to work out, can I use this with your GM or not? Um, And the other element of the Rise characters is always a spark. The idea of the spark is that they have something that is special to them. In Rise of the Apes, the spark was a special ability based on their characteristics that gave them some sort of benefit through rolling. In Rise to Heist, the spark is a special ability that is more like, you could almost say this is something a gadget would do or something magic would do. So one of the sparks is that you are able to project a door-sized picture onto somewhere. So the idea is, if I have a door open and I know there's a guard coming, I can project a picture there, and the guard says, "Oh yeah, there's nothing to see," right? But they could walk right through it because it's just an illusion. So I leave it open for the imagination of the players to say how this is done with a gadget or this is done through magic, based on the setting where they want to have their heist. Because Rise to Heist could be in a science fiction setting, in our current times, or it could be a standard fantasy setting. It really doesn't matter. It belongs to the table what they decide. So the sparks are more something you would see in a fantasy game. You would just straight out call it magic, and everybody has one, and all of them are basically tiered towards what could help you on a heist. In Spelunking Through Time, I introduce, since Spelunking Through Time takes the Rise to Heist idea and just makes it bigger, a little bit more organized, those sparks can level up. So since Spelunking Through Time should go through multiple episodes, multiple smaller heists leading up to the big heist, putting the thing the time traveler stole back. The idea is the longer it takes for those ripple effects to fix, the harder it gets. And we need stronger abilities for that. And that's where those leveling up of the sparks come in. So at some point, that picture in the door frame becomes a 30-second loop of a moving picture. Basically,
The
yeah,
classic security camera. Yeah.
yes. So I played with those tropes, tried to put it into some ideas. And the sparks are, again, they are listed basically by either mental, social, or physical. So there's two physical sparks, two mental sparks, and two social sparks that work with the idea of these attributes for characters. And as I said, they can level up this time, which is quite interesting. I'm still thinking about if I should make multiple sparks available to people, because that would also allow for a wider range in characters. But I like the idea of specializations. And when you look at traditional heist movies, you always have specialists. And when you look at the tropes from those 80s kids' adventure movies, they are always character tropes. It's very straight cut who that character is within the setting. It's not as nuanced as more modern movies where you have gray areas. And I think I want to keep that feel of the 80s movies where it's very clear, oh, this is the comic relief, this is the leader, this is, I don't know,
The girl.
the
Yeah.
tough guy, the girl. Yes. So yeah, I'm trying to lean in on these ideas with all of the elements within the game.
Right on. I really I adore the door-sized illusion thing. There's yeah, the obvious use, and then I'm sure any player will come up with a dozen like ridiculous scenarios for that.
Yes, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to keep those the descriptions for those sparks as loose as possible to allow for plenty of other things to happen. Uh, just just to not restrict players too much and just have fun with it.
Right on, right on. Well, this sounds like a lot of fun. And I'm sure people will be happy with this.
I hope so too.
Well,
I'm very happy with it.
yeah. Well, it's been good talking to you as always.
Good talking to you as well.
And from both Cannon and I, good night, everybody. Say goodbye, Cannon. Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.